What's up guys, welcome back to Space Engineers Isolation. This is Gesture of None. So, I've done some busy work while we were away, just laid out some of the things that we needed to lay out that didn't require a huge amount of effort. All I've done is replaced these two blocks here with conveyors. I accidentally welded these complete and I was going to leave them unfinished, but oh well. Replaced these two with conveyors and connected the pipes all along so that as well we also get our reactor in the right place, or connected rather. It's already in the right place. Yeah, I've connected all these together. I haven't connected these two together for some reason. And after a little bit of Googling, I've also found out that we might have a bug. Because the oxygen jet tanks, you can't see them because they're all blocked up, but the oxygen tanks are also not filling up. So we might be suffering a bug. I've seen it reported on a few other sites. So we're going to quickly... Oh, wait, I'll tell you the other things I did. I also put in all these solar panels that we haven't obviously completed them yet. I'm going to grind these off, but before that I'd like to connect this ship to our station because I do not want to end up with a situation where all the resources in the ship are floating off because it's not got enough power. So I'm going to connect this ship to our station and turn this into a station so that we can dismantle it properly. And I've also thought of some plans to handle or for what to do with this ship, but we will get to there soon. Last thing as well that I've done, I haven't finished it but I just started it, is that I have put in this little contraption for grinding down small ships. Maybe it's not the most productive thing because we're probably not going to find a huge amount of small ships or large ships. I don't know, but just so that we can at least get rid of this ship and so that we have something pretty cool. I've made these are pistons and these are grinders, and basically what I'm going to set up is so that you press this button and it increments the grinders out one more, and if they're touching, fine. And I'm going to limit the grinders so that they can't go past here where they'd start grinding down the blocks. And also I'm going to set up the other button with a timer which I've put down there by the reactor, so that you hit the button and it starts the timer off, which increments them back one at a time. Because I don't know if there is a way to program them without using programming, which I can't do, to cause them to go back to their default setting like this. So I'm going to set up the increment with a timer. I think our first priority will be to connect the oxygen, so to finish off all of the conveyors here. So I'm going to do that. Although actually I was just thinking, and it may be more important to finish off these merge blocks. So I'm going to sort out these merge blocks. I put one on here and one on our station. I'm going to do these now so that if we do end up running out of resources, these are finished. And there's the other one. Okay, so we're going to sort these out immediately so we don't have to worry about this in the future. I'm going to move our ship out of the way. I put it on charger, it's got a little bit more power. Still not much though. Put this here. I've also moved our Clyde away so that, wow, he's really awful at stopping. So that, because I know that sometimes when you use, I'm going to land him just because he's got such, okay, you know what? We might end up dismantling Clyde. It's just not good enough. He just can't stop fast enough. He's too large. We've just lost however many components were in there because of that. So that's the second time we've lost that grinder. So we might end up dismantling Clyde. I'm liking him less and less. Yes, it's my stupidity that we crashed. I underestimated his stopping power. But still, I'm going to blame Clyde. That's really annoying. Okay, we're in the ship. 8 minutes of fuel. That's plenty of time to do what we need to do. Perfect. Okay, that's sorted out. Now we can start taking this guy apart. We're not going to do it immediately. I will close this door because it seems to be... I can't close that door. So we're just going to lose all the oxygen again. Okay, now that that's connected, we can start grinding it up. I'm going to take this block off because I don't want the engines and stuff like that on this ship to be using our power. And it also means we can get the resources back from these merge blocks. Just that now, whatever happens, this guy's not going to float away because he's a station. I've just noticed that there's still 20k of ice in our inventory, so I'm going to go ahead and dump that out now. And at the same time, I can grab all of the resources we need to do what we're doing right now. So I'm going to dump all the resources I can into all of the things I can, so our ship gets a bit lighter, and just to make sure we never lose any components while we're grinding. And that's fine because we do need to do all of these things. I'm actually going to set my ship to basically automatically weld all of this because I can't be bothered. So I've just turned off the inertial dampeners, and it's going the right speed so that it's going to weld everything up for me. Okay, we finally got through our supply of iron plates. So, for a lot of reasons, we now have to do a lot of grinding. I'm going to switch my welder out for a grinder, and we're going to get to work on this ship. So what we're going to do is take off all of the antennae. We don't need them, but we do need a beacon on this station, and we do need everything for the solar panels. There's not enough solar panels to fill all these, but I figured may as well put them down for the future. And then we can see where they go as well. So we're going to get started on that now. There shouldn't be anything in the welder. Okay, there's our second grinder. I also realised as I was playing with our assemblers that last time I misread the contents of reactor parts. They actually have no silicon in them. It was silver. This is what you get for playing Space Engineers when you're a little bit sick. So we haven't really got anywhere else to get silicon wafers unless we break down these solar panels. So I think we're probably just going to rely on getting some computer components out of this ship after we finish breaking it down. Pretty efficient grinding with this with 2 grinders. You end up getting everything quite fast. Like I just took out that solar panel, and I'll take out this in just a second. I'm actually going to leave the main body of this ship intact, but I think what I'm going to do with it is make it into basically a grinding and welding ship, a bigger version of the current ship we have, this little ship, because we really do need one at some point to take apart that the red ship, but also because we're going to need to put together a ship to take us to a planet, or an asteroid belt rather, in the future. And we currently don't have that, and this ship could be that, but it's not quite adequate for our needs. It needs to be, even if we're not going to be using it for genuine long-haul survival, it needs to be equipped for that, for the sake of completeness, I think. I would feel bad saying, okay, we're good to go, if we had a ship that was just like a cockpit and a thruster on the back and then firing off in space. I'd like it to be a ship that you could genuinely survive in if you needed to. So that's probably what we're going to put together, and we're going to use this ship to do it. So this ship will probably be a bit bare bones. Some of the stuff that I'm grinding off we might in the end put back on. We don't need the hull to be 2 blocks thick, it's just going to be for welding. So we're going to take off a lot of this stuff, and we don't need gravity in this ship, we don't need anything like that. So it's going to be stripped down a lot. But that'll also make it a bit more fuel efficient, a bit more usable, and a bit more recyclable as well. We're actually getting pretty close on inventory space, so I'll be grinding for a little bit longer, and then I'll switch these 2 out for welders. And we'll get to work on setting up some of those solar panels, and probably also welding the connectors, and that'll be a good dump for most of our resources. I'm going to leave a lot of the engines intact because it's silly to go in and have to put all those things back in ourselves. So a lot of the stuff where there's engines around, I'm going to wait on grinding it, just in case I accidentally destroy the engines. It won't make a difference because we'll save all the resources. There's nothing we're going to lose by grinding engines down. I just don't want to have to go back in and do it all again. Okay, we're reaching capacity, and we've done a good job of exposing the innards of all this ship. We're going to now switch out to our welders and have a go at these solar panels and the rest of the stuff here we want to build. And we'll see how far we can get on the resource we've just claimed. Okay, there we go. We've got both welders on. Let's make these solar panels work. We should be able to get one more, but I think we took the solar panels out manually. I don't know where they went, so if we don't end up getting this one, then it's not a big loss. Yeah, we couldn't complete that one, which is not a big deal. We will just wait until we've got the production power to make our own solar panels, or solar panel components anyway. The same goes for these batteries, basically. There's 4 batteries here. They're going to be the backup power for our station, and the renewable energy for our station, basically. But we don't have any battery components, so we're not going to be able to make these right now. We're just going to do the same thing with our solar panels. We're going to get to the point where we can make our own battery components, and then we'll see from there. So we're waiting on power cells, which is basically, well, we're waiting on power cells and on solar cells, which is basically, we're waiting on silicon. And that's not very easy to come by. We need to be able to, we need to have more solar panels than we know what to do with in order to get silicon, basically. We'll get there, but it just might be a while. Okay, that's the oxygen all connected up. If we had a functioning oxygen storage tank, then this would be a perfect opportunity to take advantage of it. But since we don't, I guess we won't. And here's where our timer block is, so that we can set up the retracting arm on our automatic grinders. And then now finally our reactor is connected. So we should be good on all of these fronts. Let's see if we can't make our automatic grinding system. I keep saying automatic, but it's not really automatic, it's just a little bit easier than manual. Semi-automatic? I guess it's a semi-automatic grinding system. I'm very conscious that all the times I've tried it, pistons have kind of screwed up everything I was doing. They seem to be a bit finicky, and I guess we'll just do our best. We're actually running short on motors. I bet there's motors in these doors. Yeah, there we go. We've got loads of motors now. These doors, you actually don't have to grind them to completion as well. There's a ton of steel plates in them, but we don't need steel plates right now. Okay, all those are completed now. I'm going to do the conveyors at the back. They should be easy. They're not particularly component heavy. Oh, wow, we are missing something. What do we need? Motors. Yes, we need more motors. Okay, those guys paid up pretty well with more motors. This should all be working now then, so I'm going to get it set up and then we'll see what we need to do. It might take a while, so I'm going to cut through it. Okay, first experiment with this was unsuccessful. I think they need to have less pushing power, probably. Let's fix this. Okay, I'm gradually incrementing their maximum distance. I don't know how this is going to go, really. Also, I can't place this piston back down. I don't know what's wrong with it. I hope they can actually reach. Looks like they'll reach. Still having a few issues. There's a little bit of exploding going on. I think we need to go with a system where instead of them just extending and hoping that they'll grind faster, we need to gradually increment them out. I am going to make those changes now then. Let's turn everything off. Okay, things should be working now. So if I hit this to extend the arms, I should only go out to 1 meter. We'll see if it goes wrong. It may well go wrong because I've just added these pistons back in. Turns out the problem with this piston, the reason I couldn't put it back in, was because there was a piston next to it with a grinder on. So I ground the grinder off and it was able to work. So I'm going to increment them again. So now this button here increases their maximum extent. Increases their maximum extension. I don't know how much increases it by. So we can just check that. Increases it by 0.5. Okay, so we can hit this a couple times. And now they should be on like 2.5. So this system, the way it's set up, hopefully it won't cause any more explosions. And we can gradually edge them in. I'd like to be able to increment them just a tiny bit more. But I think you need a programming block to do that. And I just cannot do programming blocks. I like the way this works anyway. Some things are being thrown about, which is strange, but understandable. We are in space. I'm going to go ahead and knock these back in. That didn't really help. Okay, let's try incrementing it one more time. No, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make an emergency stop here. Okay, so I've made this emergency stop. This means that if things are going wrong, we can just come hit this. I'm also going to put the other buttons on here, just the extension one and the reverse one, so that we can start things up from here. The bits that fly off, I'm just going to let them float into space. I mean, it's not worth going after that. Like, that one is like 6... There's like 6 or 7 useful things in there. If there was a gravity generator or anything like that, I would go ahead and grind that off myself. So anything that floats off into space, we're just going to let it go. So now that everything's sorted, I'm going to go back here and we'll be able to control everything properly here. And now since this is just a random piece of debris, basically, we can get all of these plates we can get from better sources more easily. So I'm just going to send this off unceremoniously into space. And these are still retracting. Okay, good. I'm glad that worked out. And any ship we can fit in here, we can do that too. So we should be able to do it to the Clyde, which I may end up doing, to be honest. I'm a little bit annoyed with Clyde. Now all that's set up, let's get to work on continuing the destruction of this ship. I'm going to change these out for grinders. Having to constantly adjust these things into grinders is a pain in the bottom, but it's less use of a resource than making a second one of these ships. So it's not a big pain. I'm going to chuck everything we've gathered back into the system. I just noticed we actually have some unprocessed nickel in our inventory. I don't know where it came from. I'm guessing it was in one of the small ship we just destroyed. Very odd. And I don't know what to do about that because it is useful and we do need nickel. But it's not worth building a whole assembler just for that nickel. Okay, we have our agile little grinding ship back. So let's go and take this apart some more. I'm going to go ahead and take this whole side out because then we can get into the insides a bit better. But also because we don't need it. And if we can keep the engines connected through that side, then it doesn't really matter. Oh, a ship just spawned in because my game just froze. There it is down there. Can't see the name yet. When we see the name, we'll think about getting it. If it's a small ship, maybe we can replace our current pursuit vehicle. if it's a large ship, maybe we can break it down. Or maybe even it'll be... Well, because I think I want to build our escape ship from scratch. So whatever ships we get, they'll just be fodder or tools. So they'll be fodder so we can break it down and use it to make something better, or it'll be a tool for us to, like, we can turn it into a welding ship or a grinding ship, and that'll be for us to make our actual escape ship. I have to say about this ship that it was very compact. It got like anything you could possibly want in a very small area. Really impressive. It's just so the only reason we're taking it apart is not because it's a bad ship, but because we just don't need all this stuff. United, I'm guessing, like, I just saw the name pop up. It was UCF Magdalena or something like that. Sounds like it's got guns. May check it out anyway, because that didn't stop us with this one. And I'm not really worried about losing the Clyde, to be honest. We're getting to the point where we can no longer do work on this ship with the small ship because it's a bit too large. So we may have to set about doing all this stuff manually now. What we'll do though, we will go ahead and build a med bay. Just realised how many components there are in a large med bay, and it is not worth me spending an hour ferrying components back and forth. If we miss this ship, it's not a huge deal. It's just that it's there, so I thought this would be the opportunity to go ahead and put in our med bay. But it's not, strictly speaking, because I'm desperate for this ship. But I should probably check what's in these inventories. Now that we've got a lot of our heavy grinding done, I'm only going to put one welder back on here because we don't need the welding power to make everything super fast anymore, and we don't need the grinding power to make everything super fast. We just need one welder and one grinder, and for a while that's how it'll stay. Okay, there's our med bay. Great. Now the wall's all fixed up. Okay, if Clyde is still in fighting shape, if he's still got enough thrusters to make it, yeah, we're going to go with Clyde, and I'm not so worried about losing him, honestly. He's not got so many valuable resources that... Oh, actually, I think it's disappeared. Yeah, it's disappeared. Okay, well then, let's take this opportunity to sort Clyde out. What I want to do is basically cut off his back end. Ah, okay, Clyde's back wasn't actually locked in, so we're going to stabilize, or we're going to try to stabilize him with our jetpack. If that doesn't work, we can just bring in our... let's stick him back where he belongs, on the chopping block. Okay, that's great. We can go ahead and unlock this now. And let's see if we can fly this away. Yep, okay. Not much more agile, but certainly a little bit uglier. He's locked back on. Now, I might just manually grind off the resources that are valuable, like this one. Yeah, then actually, I thought there was a radio component in there. There's not. So we may just let this guy fly off into space. Okay, so I found Clyde's engine, his reactor. I don't know if there was supposed to be a cargo container here that got destroyed or what, but there's no longer a connection between the power and everything else. But now I know where it is, I can just grind through to it. Now we have access to Clyde's power, we'll be able to use him a little bit more easily. I'd still like to know a little bit more about what's going on inside. I mean, I don't really understand the point of him, frankly. I'm not criticising the creator, I just, not knowing the creator's intentions, I don't know what the purpose of all these things on the ship are. So, I cut the front off too, because we also didn't need that. And I put in a smaller cockpit. I'm going to release this into the wild, where it can be happy and free. It's just that it was all unnecessary, you know, we didn't need to do any of those things. I've got to re-add some feet to it. I think we're basically done. It should be a little bit more flexible. It's definitely less versatile now, but that's okay, we only want it to do one job, you know? I've taken out all those crosshatch, those sort of like angled blocks put in here so that it had like it looked a bit like air intakes. I've taken all those out and I've put in thrusters, and I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom so that it's got some more downward thrust. I think it's probably got enough sideways thrust. I like the concept of this ship that it's mostly for forward and backwards. It's got these two powerful engines, and I'm going to leave that the way it is because it's quite valuable. The only other thing I might add is storage for weaponry. So it's got these two guns. It's actually got 2 rocket launchers and 2 guns. I'm going to check that those things are properly connected. Other than that, though, I'm going to leave them in, and I might just reconnect them myself to a port at the back, which I'm going to add in, just a cargo container where I can put in fuel and other stuff. Oh, it's got an oxygen generator. I'm going to take that out because we don't need it. Good, we got some ice. I figure the ship will run on the suit's oxygen, or rather we will run on our oxygen whenever we're in this the ship. Interesting. So because of the placement of these, they aren't actually connected to anything. They need to be reloaded from the side. So they need a large ship Yeah, I'm going to have to move a lot of things about on the ship to make it work. Okay, just had to retrieve him because I took the foot off, so it no longer functioned to hold on to this ship, but to the station. But that's fine. We can do what we need to do in the air. So in the process of adjusting Clyde, we lost one of Clyde's arms, which is fine because this really he could use. Doing this means that I know exactly where everything is. It turns out that it would have been much easier just to destroy Clyde and build a new one, but we've basically done that anyway. I'm going to reattach that arm now. It won't take much effort. This takes extraordinarily good spatial reasoning, which is something that I just don't have. Oh, but there we go, we've got it. Okay, good, all sorted. I think it's on a little bit further back than the other one. Let's see. It might be exactly the same. If it is, that's great. No, it's on a little bit further back, but that's fine. We're going to fix that anyway. We're going to move things about anyway. But you can see the way that these are restocked was just completely blocked, so we had to take it off and had to grind through everything so that we could connect them. Okay, for some reason this one was much harder to attach to. We had to come all the way out here to catch it, which is fine. We're just going to do the same thing to this one. We're almost finished with Clyde, and we'll call the episode after that, because I'm hoping to cut this episode down to an hour, but I've been filming for 2 hours. I get really caught up in Space Engineers. I really do try to take these episodes only to... Oh shit, no. Okay, good. Okay. I really do try my best to keep these episodes... Oh, I didn't have my dampers on, that's why we weren't stopping. I do try my best to keep these episodes to only half an hour, but I get so caught up playing Space Engineers. By the time we're done with putting Clyde together, it's going to be 2 hours and 30 minutes that I've been playing. Which is fine, I love Space Engineers, but I'm just doing my best to keep these episodes, watchable. So, I mean, we'll see. But the reason I'm playing Space Engineers as a Let's Play is because I love it, and I wanted to engage with it in a new way. Like sharing it with other people is something that actually is kind of a foreign concept to me. So, yeah, I thought this was a good way of exploring a game that I love in a brand new light. This is going to take some serious rotation to get this in the right position. I'm going to fix this and then we'll be back. Okay, we have the other thrusters and we are going to put it on now. And this ship is basically back together. Okay, good there. So what I've done is I've added a new medium cargo container in the middle, which will have enough supplies for these, and I'll also feed it into the Gatling guns, which will mean that these Gatling guns can also be refed. As it stood, there was actually no way of refeeding these, either the turrets or the Gatling guns. I mean, unless I'm confused, but it really seems like it was set up in an odd way. But again, I don't know the creator's intention, so I don't know that there isn't something I'm missing here. I don't even know that I'm not misunderstanding a fundamental fact about the game. And maybe that's the case. So I'm definitely not criticizing. I'm just curious about the motivations behind the design in some aspects, but only certain aspects. Okay, the ship is all powered up and ready to go. It needs gyroscopes, it needs some feet, and it needs a cockpit, so let's take it out to do some work on it. But we're basically done with Clyde. I'm thinking about rechristening him. For now, I like the name Little Clyde, Little C, but if there are any better names in the comments, or any names that people in the comments would prefer, then I'll totally go with that. Let me know, I guess. Otherwise, don't, and I'll just name it whatever the hell I want. But I really would prefer to be given a name. Let's put on the stuff we need to put on. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I think it looks really great. It's a shame. I've added some supports here and here, like either side, where this is exposed, just because if these two get shot off, then we lose the whole thing. But the thing about this is that I don't think it's really a ship for fighting. It's a ship for going over to where we need to go, grabbing it, and then coming back. It's, as you can see, the engines overload from doing anything other than going straight forward. We've not got much fuel time. I've gone with a power setup that I usually go with. I've got several reactors dispersed evenly throughout the ship. It does not make for the most balanced ship, but it does mean that you can have a slightly smaller ship. I don't have to have one big reactor somewhere. You can see it's quite nimble, quite fast. It's got okay stopping power, but better than it was before, but nowhere near as good as it could be or should be. But it'll do the job. We can put some ammo in this and we'll be able to fire, and maybe we'll get a kill with this. Maybe we'll get You can see I got a bit nervous there because we were going towards the base. Maybe we'll be able to take out some guns with this and then fly in and land like we're supposed to be. But really, I think this ship is just... It's a little bit more functional than Clyde was, and definitely a lot more efficient, but maybe not as good as it could be. Maybe we'll make some changes to it across the series. We'll see, but I mean, I'm happy with this for now. Let's move it over a bit. It's definitely very speedy. It's got that going for it, definitely, in huge amounts. It's definitely very speedy. Okay, I'm happy with the change we've made to Clyde. It's a bit weird, but it's good. It's got a bit of a TIE fighter feel, but I think that's only because it's got two engine pods either side. Yeah. It's a bit of a Frankenstein, frankly. But I like it. So, there we go. I'm going to put this on charge, and then we will end the episode. So, what have we achieved this episode? We have finished our grinding system. It maybe is not as useful as it could be, because I realise now we don't really need to grind down small ships. This is kind of all a bit of a waste. What I may end up doing is replacing these feet with a projector, and then replacing these with welders, and then having this be our way of making new small ships. Not that we're going to need to do that much. In the end, this probably won't be that useful, but it was fun. I wanted to do it for a while. It's not my traditional way of grinding down ships. Normally I have a pit and I drop them in, but that doesn't really work so well in space anymore thanks to some changes that were made. But I like it. I like the system setup. So we've also connected all of our systems together, apart from the oxygen for some reason. I'll just mention this. I had to disconnect this because all of our ice got used and put in here to no effect. There's nothing in this. It's not useful to us at all. So I really don't know what to do about this, because we've lost all that ice. We've lost all that access. We haven't got hydrogen production anymore. Apart from that, if we save our ice, we can put it in the oxygen generator and get small amounts of hydrogen one at a time. But we're going to have to fix this. Like, maybe it's a mod issue. We're going to have to fix this and change the setup so that when we leave, we can actually store hydrogen, because we can't land on a planet without hydrogen. So that's an issue that will be fixed in the future. Other than that, we've also got our solar panel set up, which means we've got a little bit of power, but really we need batteries set up so that when the sun is not on us, we still have power to use, because uranium won't last forever. And we've also done a bunch of processing on this large ship. It's now a hull of its former shelf. A shelf? A hull of its former shelf? It's now a husk of its former self, and that's good because we're going to make it into something not necessarily better, but more useful to us. But for now, I like it how it is. Okay then, let's end this here. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Gesture of None. If you have any suggestions or ideas, put them in the comments below, and I will look forward to seeing you next week.